Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining Making Shapes. This is my new channel, as I have mentioned in the past. I hope you'll join in and enjoy my offerings. I've been going over the Samkhya Karika, which is a really beautiful philosophy. So if you have an opportunity, go back, check out the first few verses. I'm on verse 5, so let's jump right in. Perception is the application of senses to their special objects. Inference is said to be of three kinds. It is preceded by the knowledge of the linga, which is the middle term, and the lingin, which is the major term. I'll get to that. And valid testimony consists of holy teachers and revelation. All right, so this is the thing. The previous Karika was all about right cognition, right? We're trying to get to, well, the truth of things. And that's the thing with all these major like Orthodox schools and Indian philosophical thought, right? We gotta like know the truth of a thing. so every single one has these kind of modes of knowing, if you will. If you're familiar with the Yoga Sutra, of course, this comes up pretty early as well in 1.5, 1.6, something like that. So we begin perception. Now, obviously, right? We observe a thing, right? Part of basically the scientific method, right? We observe a thing, we notice what's going on with that thing. Now, what I do like is that Kapila says perception is the application of the senses to their special objects. I think it's like really kind of cool. If I was going to get really geeky about this, I would say, well, why do we have our senses, right? Ultimately, part of Samkhya philosophy has a lot to do with this kind of reciprocal, karma, if you will, but these reciprocal actions. It's the old chicken and the egg kind of thing. Well, I guess for the chicken end of things, right? In modern terms, because our senses developed because of our environment. Maybe the chicken and the egg example is not a good idea. So just erase that from your mind. But our senses, were born out of, evolved from the things in which they can perceive, right? So anyway, getting down to this right perception, though, we have our senses, right? That's one of our primary tools for us to get to the truth of a thing. Now, the second thing, inference. Now, inference is an interesting thing because if we don't continue to be, humble, kind of also purifying the mind, then the things that we might infer become clouded by the mind itself. So we're going to be really careful with inference. Yes, inference is a great way for us to achieve the truth of a thing. And at the same time, it is there's pitfalls along the way. Assuming that, we can see things or I guess think things through clearly enough, right? Infer things clearly enough, then maybe we get to the truth of a thing. Kapila gets a little bit, in the weeds here by saying inference is said to be of three kinds. It is preceded by the knowledge of the linga, the middle term, right? And that is typically, not typically, but the example often given is the staff, right? In which a teacher might be using. This is a story of old, right? The staff that a mendicant might be using. All right. And then the lingin, which is the major term, which would be the mendicant in him or herself, right, with that staff. It could be assumed that the object, the middle term here, the linga, would be the staff, given to the mendicant once he or she reaches a certain point in their studies. So it can be assumed by the possession of the staff that the mendicant has achieved the status and is, of course, qualified to teach. On the other hand, it is assumed that because the mendicant, the major term, the lingin, is in possession of the middle term, the staff, that he or she is the owner of, right? We infer that he or she is the owner of that staff. A little convoluted, but we can we can apply this in other ways as well. But that's an example. Okay, so then finally, the third way to right cognition is valid testimony. Right in the Kapila says, and valid testimony consists of holy teachers and revelation, which I think is like kind of cool. So, it's testimony, so it has to come from another. That's the thing. So, this revelation has to happen to another and then communicated to you from that other. Right? And this is the way in which we would come to right cognition. Now, it's really interesting because a little bit like inference, right, where the mind has to be clear, right? There's a lot of steps in which the mind has to be purified enough to infer something to be true. The same can be said in a different way of valid testimony, right? This is coming from another person, so you have to trust the person. And we also have to know the person's qualifications to, I would say a pretty high degree. So here, valid testimony becomes a little bit muddled as well. It is assumed that the person in which we're receiving this information from can be trusted and has the qualifications to achieve that revelation. It's a difficult one. Well, in any case, let's consider right cognition and its importance in our daily lives. One of the most beautiful things of the practice of meditation is we receive certain benefits, including things like better sleep and less stress. One of the other byproducts of meditation is our ability to see things very clearly. And the way in which we do that is not allowing our samsara, right, our present condition, right, the mind's present condition, to interfere with the reality that is happening in front of us. So we could take a situation or an experience in life and, we could turn it in such a way that it might, benefit us. Right? This, of course, would be detrimental to our understanding of the truth. But with a clear mind, with a purified mind, through the practice of yoga and meditation, all those various practices, we remove the hurdles that samsara, our conditioning, is imposing upon the reality that we see before us. And then hopefully, we clear the slate, if you will, and we record, right, this reality that is in front of us so that we can have full and complete understanding of it. Very difficult to achieve, though. As a matter of fact, I would say that one of the best ways to achieve this is to know that we will never fully understand the truth of anything outside of our small world that is contained within us. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed these teachings. Join me every Friday morning for the Samkhya Karika, and I will continue to post other videos as well, so be on the lookout. Please take care, and if you can, take care of others. Peace.